Welcome to the Cal Club Region SCCA Championship races here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park on this 27th of June 2020. I'm Brian Belansky, getting ready for race 5 here, our final race of the day. This is our Miata group, all spec Miatas. Our final race of the day, our cars are on the course. All right, race group 5 getting underway here. Here is our full field rundown. In the fourth row on the outside, starting is Gabe Estrada Jr. He's from Carlsbad, California. Your inside of row 4 is Nathan Ballard in car number 73 from San Rafael. They're all Mazda Miatas. Car number 99, Bill Nelson, is on the outside of row 3. He is from Walnut. From Bonita, California, David Varco in the 98 car. He's on the inside of row 3. Row 2 on the outside is Juan Graziosi from San Jose, California. Encino's Evan Jacobs is on the inside of row 2 in car number 35. Your front row on the outside, Ryan Gutiel from Madera. And your pole sitter from Lancaster, California, driving car number 37, is Jeremy Rudder. All right, the lights are out on the pace car. Chuck Phillips is our starter for this race. Once the field of 8 comes through the final corner, heading towards the start line, he will determine whether or not he likes the lineup, and that will determine whether or not we get a green flag today. 25-minute races, time-sensitive, time-certain races. We've been getting in about 12 laps, depending on the speed of the field here. So we will see, I'm guessing, right around 12 laps is what we've been able to accomplish in these 25-minute sessions. Our pace car is in pit lane. The field is coming onto the main straightaway. These are all spec cars, which means they're basically prepared to the exact same specification. The green flag is out. This is also usually one of our most fun races to watch because the cars are so evenly matched. We're 3 wide right now going into turn 1, or the first corner. They got a little smarter and went to 2 wide. All of them negotiated for corner 1 pretty nicely. Now we're seeing them go through the back part, or the off-ramp area of the racetrack. Still no dust. That's a good sign. That's the race announcer's trick for everyone made it through without any problems. Plenty of dusty runoff here, so when someone does go off, I just snap my head around and see what I'm supposed to be seeing. But that's basically how it works here at Buttonwillow. The good of the Buttonwillow is there's lots of room to make a mistake. The bad of the Buttonwillow is when you do make a mistake, it stirs up the dust, and that gets on the racetrack, and that can make things a bit slippery. A big lead already put together here between first and second. We're looking at, I'm going to say, maybe 15, 20 car lengths. We have a little dust at the turn 11 area. We'll find out who put a wheel off there in just a minute. So basically what happened is, so with the spec Miata cars, what's really, really important is not losing the draft. So they're all momentum cars. The draft is really important. If you lose the draft, it's really hard to catch the car in front of you. So what happened going into the first corner is 3 or 4 cars got to be side by side. The leader was not amongst all of that. They had to slow down to negotiate the first corner. That gave the leader a chance to break open a lead. So one of 2 things can happen here. Obviously, we're on the first lap, so there's a lot of time. Those cars that allowed that leader to get a big lead now need to get together in a train and work together to catch back up, because if they don't, that leader will walk away to never be seen again. So we'll see what happens. And here's the lead. I'll tell you right now, your first Jeremy Rudder is your leader at this point in time. 2.5 seconds back is the next group. So there's a 2.5 second gap between first and second, which in a spec Miata can become an eternity very, very quickly. So second, third, and fourth of Ryan Gutiel, Evan Jacobs, and Juan Graziosi are going to have to work together in order to catch Rudder. If they don't, he can slowly step away, and before you know it, he'll have a 5-6 second lead, and you will not be able to catch him. So they have to be really smart here. The cars in second, third, and fourth, if they work together, they can catch that first-place car. But, wow, that's even a bigger gap now than it was last time by. They're really going to have to work together now. This race could be over really in the second lap. It's crazy. This is very uncommon for a spec racer race, but we'll keep an eye on it. The car that went off in the first lap in the turn 10-11 complex, that's Bill Nelson in the 99 car, but he was able to get back on the track and continue on. So, want to let all the people in our track event, our time trial group, know that they can start making their way to the grid now. They are our final group of the day. I'll talk a little bit more about the time trial group in just a minute. It's an opportunity for people to come on out and get on the track with their street cars and see if this is something they might want to do a little bit more of. But we'll talk about that in just a minute here. I want to see what the gap is here as our leader comes across. Again, it was 2.5 seconds after the first lap. Jeremy Rudder is crossing. Jeremy Rudder is still your race leader. He has now widened his gap to 5.2 seconds. That is like tomorrow, really, honestly. A little wider gap, and it's possible he can hold off even that train coming behind him. Second, third, and fourth are still really close together, but they really need to get their stuff together, because if they don't, Jeremy Rudder is just going to drive away from this field here. The 08 car, although I don't see a 08 car, so I'm going to guess maybe it was the 09 car that went off in turn number 4, I'm hearing, or maybe even the 98 car. It's tough to tell. Sometimes it's hard because there's a long distance between corner stations. Sometimes it's hard to see as a corner worker the car numbers, especially not every car number is on the car to, bright and easy to be seen. So, but we did have a car go off around corner 4 this last lap. All right, we're driving configuration 14 clockwise. I say 14 clockwise for the uninitiated. We have an excess of 20 possible track configurations here at Buttonwillow. Most of them can be run both clockwise and counterclockwise, which basically gives an amazing opportunity because you can come here 10 times and you're never going to race the same track. A lot of fun for the drivers. And in this particular case, because we're running the clockwise configuration, the corner stations are numbered backwards. I'll try to keep it straight for you and make it not confusing, even though that's sometimes quite difficult, even for me. But anyway, here comes your leader, Jeremy Rudder, completing his third race lap. We'll see what kind of a lead he's been able to go. See, here's the problem right now. The gap between first and second has now 6.3 seconds. The gap between second and third is 3.1 seconds. The gap between third and fourth is now third and fourth is still pretty close. Because the second, third, and fourth place cars did not work together, there's a very good chance that the second place car will not be able to catch your leader, Jeremy Rudder. And we're just 3 laps into this race. We're 7 minutes now into a 25-minute race, and because those drivers didn't work together, this race could be pretty much in the books. That said, Jeremy Rudder still has to get to the checkered flag without having any kind of mechanical problems, without getting overconfident and driving off the racetrack. Lots of things can happen, which is why we always race to the checkered flag. But this is one of those classes where, really, really working together is so important. And it appears that they didn't make the decision to do that. And now we are in a situation where your race leader may have an easy drive to the checkered flag here. We'll keep an eye on it as we get going here. So we're 8 minutes into a 25-minute race. I'll give you the full field rundown here when we get to the halfway point. But that's what we got going. So I was just talking earlier about our track event. We call it track event time trial. That's an opportunity for people who don't have a race car, don't have a racing license, to come out with their street cars and get on the racetrack. It's a very controlled event where the passing is limited to specific areas, and we keep. It's a very controlled event where the cars are only able to pass in certain areas. We keep a very close eye on people. If you go off the track once, you end up having to come in and talk with the stewards. But it's really a chance just for people to try it out. Everyone has to wear a helmet, but we try to limit the danger as much as possible, but give people a chance on the racetrack. It's a great opportunity to find out if this is a sport you might want to pursue a little bit further. We have the track time trial events on most of our events here at Buttonwillow, and it's just a really nice opportunity for people to get out there. So you can find out more information about those events by going to kcal.com. KCal, goodness gracious, I used to work at KCal. CalClub.com. That's the second time I've made that mistake. Also want to remind people that the folks from Cali Photography are here this weekend. If you want to go check out your race car and pictures of your race car on the track, you can go down to the cafe, and they've got the monitors up there, and you can see really awesome photography. These guys and gals really know what they're doing. So we did get a clarification. That car that went off on the first lap at the fourth corner at turn 4 was the 09 car of Juan Graziosa. And so like I said, it's hard to see those numbers sometimes. Coming up on 10 minutes in, 15 to go, Jeremy Rutter is still your race leader. We're trying to keep an eye on those gaps to see if anybody is going to be able to close it up here a little bit. But at this point in time, I don't know. I hate this. I don't want to be the announcer's jinx where we say, oh, it's going to be easy, and then something funky-dunky happens. But that can happen here. Here comes your race leader. That's the 37 car of Jeremy Rutter. Your second place car, now 7.7 back. 7.7 seconds now the lead. And then your third place car has dropped back another almost 6 seconds. And then another 6 seconds back to your fourth place car. Oh, my. That's not how the teamwork's going to work, unfortunately. We just heard that car number 16, Ryan Gutiel, he's pulled off around turn 6 with a mechanical problem. So his day looks to be done unless he can get it figured out and get it back going. This is one of those situations where unless you can fix it yourself as a driver, you're stuck out there. We'll take an opportunity here also to tell you, if you want to get more involved than just watching, you can become a volunteer. We love the help. Lots of different areas, both trackside. If you want to get really close to the cars, if you want to stay in a safer zone, you can go work in our tech shed with our scrutineers and really learn about the actual technical components of the car. That's a fascinating area. I love hanging out with the tech people. If you want to be in the air conditioning, you can come up and work timing and scoring. And heck, I'm always looking for help in the announce booth. If you want to be an announcer, find me. I'd love to have some help up here. But a lot of people think the most fun out there is working corners. Those are our angels in white. They're out there to keep the drivers safe if there's an incident. They're the first responders on the racetrack. They also wave the flags to communicate information to those drivers. And then they have radios or headsets to talk back to control and let us know what's going on. That's a lot of times how I get my information about who went off and where they went off. We're at halfway here. Jeremy Rutter is your race leader at the halfway point, followed by Evan Jacobs and David Varco. They will be your podium if nothing changes here in the last half of this race. But again, probably have another 6 laps to go, so anything's possible. Your fourth place car, Juan Graziosi. Gabe Estrada Jr. has worked his way up to 5th. He started in our last row. Nathan Ballard is 6th. Ryan Gutiel and Bill Nelson, they've both, they're at the back of the pack in 7th and 8th. So 5 races today here at Buttonwillow on Saturday. We'll do 5 races tomorrow, so more action tomorrow out here at the racetrack. there is, and we're doing it. We're helping out the heat for the drivers. So the folks who are driving right now in the heat of the day are as hot as we're gonna get. Right now at the racetrack, we're at 97 degrees outside. So Group 5 drivers, they're going to get to go out early tomorrow and be our early drivers, so they don't have to deal with all this heat. And then the drivers who drove in the cooler part of the day today in Group 1, they're going to be our last drivers today. So that may also be why this is such a small spec Miata field. We might get a whole bunch of little Miatas coming to the racetrack tonight or tomorrow morning with the idea that they can drive in the cooler weather tomorrow. Would not be surprised to see this field double for tomorrow's races. All right, 10 minutes to go here. We've completed 7 laps. Our running order has stayed pretty consistent throughout the day here. This is one of our most, oh, wow. We're just talking about the track day that we do, the track event. I just looked over at our grid, and I'm seeing 15 cars lined up to go out for the track day, which is a ton of fun. So lots of people coming out. You do have to pay to do it. I don't remember exactly what the dollar figure is, but it's fairly reasonable. But you get to go out 2 sessions today, and if you come out for both days, you get to do 2 sessions tomorrow. Anyway, we've got our Miatas out there. This is a very, very popular class. Often we have fields in excess of 20 and coming up to 30 cars. And the reason it's such a popular class is because as a spec class, if you do everything that the rules allow you to do, all these cars end up being pretty much identical. There's very limited changes you can make to the motor and to the heads, and it's all within a very contained spec. They all run the identical same tire. Their roll cages are all identical, so that the weight of the roll cages are the same. They're limited by the type of wheels they can use because you don't want to have a weight advantage by running very low weight wheels. The transmissions are all the same. There is a spec suspension that you buy to put on the car. It gives you the shocks, the springs, the anti-roll bars, all of the bushings, all of those types of things. The brakes are identical, as well as the brake pads, the competition pads they let you use. So really, everyone prepares their car themselves, or they go to a prep shop to do it. But no matter where you go around the country, when the spec Miatas show up, you're pretty confident that the cars you're racing against are going to be equal, which means it's a driver's class. Which driver is better? That's who wins the day, is which driver is better. So that makes this an extremely popular class. And the same goes for our Spec Racer Ford class, another really popular class, because those cars are exactly identical. They have sealed motors. You can't change anything in the motors. Sealed transmissions. They all run the same tires, the same chassis, the same body work. And, it really ends up being best driver wins. So those 2 classes, some of our most popular, and they're spec classes. And the other nice thing about them is that, once you get the car, as long as it's in good condition, and you get it built up to the spec, you can run them for a long time, and the ongoing maintenance is pretty reasonable as far as racing goes. There's nothing cheap about racing, but once you get that car, you can race for several race weekends without doing a whole lot to your car. I remember when my family ran the Spec Racer Ford, we would run 15, 20 weekends before we had our motor refreshed. And that's the type of thing you can do with a sealed motor like that. So that's what makes these classes so popular, is that once you get into them, you can continue to race as affordable as any racing goes. And it's just a ton of fun. And the camaraderie among these classes is fantastic. These drivers race together every weekend. They know each other. They become friends off the track. They want to beat the heck out of each other on the track. But, at the end of the day, you pop a beverage, you do a little bench racing, and that's what's so special about what we do here in the Sports Car Club of America. So All right, we are at 6 minutes to go in our final race of the morning. Oh, we've actually crossed over into the afternoon. Final race of the day. We've got just over 5 minutes to go in this race, coming up on the 5-minute mark. We're still with the same running order right now. Jeremy Rutter has extended his lead now to 14 seconds. So, as I told you earlier, it's one of those situations where if you don't pay attention to keeping that work together with this particular class, you don't work that draft together, you know, it's very easy for a car just to drive away, and that's what the 37 car has done. Jeremy Rutter with almost a 15-second lead here. And I got to tell you, that's really unheard of in Spec Miata, because they're really good at understanding that we got to work together, and they just don't let that happen. Sometimes you'll get a gap of cars who will make that kind of thing, but to have one car drive away like this is really pretty remarkable. And you got my hats off to the 37 car, Jeremy Rutter. You know, really played it smart at the front on the first lap, and that smart decision to get out there and not mix it up is what gave him the opportunity to put this lead together. And he should have, unless something funky happens, he should have smooth sailing here right to the finish. Evan Jacobs continues to circulate in second place. He's now 17.7 seconds back. Your third place car is now 27 seconds behind the leader. That's David Varco. Juan Graziosi is your fourth place car. He is another 7 seconds back from fourth place. Gabe Estrada is in fifth. Nathan Ballard is in sixth. And Bill Nelson is in seventh. He's 2 laps down. And then Ryan Gutiel in the 16 car, he is done for the day. He's had a mechanical problem. Just getting word that Gabe Estrada has had a little off-course excursion at corner 6. That's that car was off and on and continued, so they're going to keep a look at that car as we keep going forward here. That's the white Mazda that just crossed the start-finish line. They're all Mazdas, so that's the white car that just crossed the start-finish line. We're coming up on 3 minutes to go here, so we'll keep a close look at that. We're hearing next time by will be 1 to go here on our final race of the morning. We still have one more session on track. If you're on the track event group, you should be at the grid at this point in time or hustling your way over, because we're going to get this track event going right away after this final checkered flag here, so that we can get the workers in and off the track. We're hoping that we can get in before we hit the triple-digit market here on the thermometer, but I don't think it's going to happen. We're at 99 degrees right now, which also is making for a very hot racetrack. Got to give a big hats off to our corner workers and our grid people and our tech people. Those are the folks that spend most of the time outside making all this happen. They are really our heroes today. Hopefully they are hydrating. So, all right, our leaders are coming through the back half of the track on the second to last lap. Once they come onto the start straight, we'll see the white flag, and we'll have one final race lap to go here as we wrap up our racing here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. This is the SCCA Cal Club Championships here. Our first race back after our coronavirus shutdowns, and it's good to be back at the racetrack. We're on our final lap here. Jeremy Rutter is cruising to victory. This will probably, I don't want to jinx it, if he's 22 seconds ahead right now. If he holds this lead, I'm pretty certain that if I were to ask him, this will probably be one of the easiest race victories he's ever had. very an unusual way that this race has played out. But anyway, the 37 car, Jeremy Rutter, he is from Lancaster, California. All right, we are waiting. We are waiting for our leaders to come around for the final time. The white flag is out. Jeremy Rutter is your leader at this point in time. He had a 22-second lead last time by. We are waiting to see him come by. All right, our leaders coming towards the checkered flag. This is the final checkered flag of the day. Jeremy Rutter is going to win your Spec Miata race. I will give you the gap between first and second, but it is pretty significant here. All right. I'm going to give you your full field rundown here at the end of our race here in Spec Miata, our final race of the day. Your race winner was Jeremy Rutter with a 25-second victory, which is, like I said, really unheard of in Spec Miata. Your second place car, Evan Jacobs. Third place was David Varco. Juan Graziosi is in fourth, finished fourth. Daniel Ballard finished fifth. Gabe Estrada will finish sixth. Bill Nelson will be your seventh place finisher. And in eighth place, who not running at the end. Actually, Bill Nelson and Ryan Gutierrez both not running at the end. So that's your full field rundown at the end of our final race of the day here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. These are the Cal Club Championship races for the SCCA. Again, congratulations to Jeremy Rutter, your race winner in Spec Miata.